2 years ago when we met in Milan for our annual meeting, where we were at the beginning of the worst financial crisis in our history. In fact, for those of you who don't remember, there were governments the weekend we met that were suggesting that we close exchanges. And we spoke out and said the worst thing you can do to hurt confidence is to close the markets. And we were very vocal about that, and it created an opportunity for us to become more vocal about what exchanges are for. There were credit failures at banks and brokerage firms, there were government bailouts, there were OTC markets around the world that stopped functioning. But while these other things were not working, exchanges worked. They worked without interruption. They provided transparency, price discovery, certainty of execution, and central clearing.
The Federation is therefore a young, yet very experienced federation. And my understanding from what I was told, Duncan, is that you have in this room 52 exchanges present or represented, which is, I suppose, a record high for the organization.
What is an exchange? An exchange used to be a place where people would come together to buy and sell, hoping to achieve the best price for themselves. The more the exchange was able to attract all the buy and sell interests in a product, the more the prices at the exchange would reflect the true state of supply and demand. In the last 20 years came computers, electronic communications, electronic exchanges, dark pools, flash orders, multiple exchanges, alternative trading venues, sponsored access, OTC with derivatives, high-frequency traders, MiFID in Europe, Reg NMS in the US, and what we got today is a complete mess.
Someone asked me today, what is our role? What do we do? And it's to advocate the value of exchange markets. And as we become more broad and diverse, we have to be more precise about our message.
What we want is visibility, predictability, also called transparency, erroneously so in my view, because we need understanding of what is going on and not just masses of information that would result from the principle of transparency. We want accountability and responsibility, and that is necessarily in a country and on a continent that is actually born and driven and built on the basis of legal system that requires a level of regulation. And we want to make sure that it will be adjustable, adaptable, and it will anticipate the technology improvements and the technology investments that most of your houses are actually led to continue doing in the future.
What does it mean to be an exchange? It is about capital formation, it is about price discovery, it is about services for issuers, it is about being in the transparent reporting of data services business. It is about having responsible market models like Mr. Petterfy was alluding to this morning, where we personally believe if you're going to run a market, the market makers, if you're going to give them that title, should have obligations that are objective. They're not left open to, I think you did a good job, you didn't think you did a good job. Very clear, very easy to define, very easy to measure. And if you don't have them, then don't call the person a market maker. It's very, very simple.
Exchanges are infrastructure financial services company, not just ordinary financial services, and the same holds true for clearinghouses. What one could question the wisdom of creating competition infrastructure. In fact, there are other, and this is a sort of silly comparison I sometimes bring up, there are other infrastructure industries, transportation. Let's say you have an underperforming motorway between two cities. They charge excessively high tolls, a lot of potholes in the street, bad lighting. Are you going to build 4 or 5 motorways next to that underlying motorway in order to improve its performance? Or are you going to fix it, change management, improve its performance? And the same holds true, and I think, with its 50 years of experience and history, the WFE is the ideal forum to ask ourselves the question, why deep down did regulators, certainly in countries like the United States, Canada, or elsewhere, why did they become convinced that introducing competition was the only way to modernize the exchange industry?
I guess my own personal view is the genie will never be put back in the bottle, and the reasons that the regulators and others encouraged competition from a monopolistic position in relation to trading venues and exchanges is not going to be reversed. And if we agree on that premise, then I think that's a start for us to think about how constructively we do solve the issues that fragmentation and lack of transparency have created. And I think the WFE is taking a leadership position in this, and I congratulate you on that.
It is thus crucial to restore confidence. It is a key ingredient to place the world economy on a new, firmer path to sustainable growth. Today, I'll outline what we're doing at the OECD to contribute to restore confidence. And I would also like to reflect on how we can work with the world's exchanges to further this goal.
Last year, the WFE created, for the first time, something special called the Award for Excellence. The board decided that it would be appropriate to recognize people who've made extraordinary contributions to the exchange industry. And this year, the award goes to Dr. Bent Ryden, who is the person who was the CEO of the Stockholm Exchange. We recognize him for today as something that we now basically take for granted, that exchanges will become public companies. And when he did it in 1993, it was something quite extraordinary.
Membership of the Federation, we actually have the advantage of being able to draw our experiences and to put forward a good argument, good solid argument, and to be constructive about what we think is going to be the way forward. And I think as exchanges, we have a very, very important role to play. And I'm convinced that together we can make some progress. We may not achieve it in the pace that we want to do it, but I think we should give it a jolly good try.